Hello friends, neighbors, John your Whiskey neighbor here. Welcome out to the deck. Happy Canada Day. I thought, on this Canada Day, I should pick a Canadian whiskey that's got a little bit of cred and likely will be a pretty good whiskey for us here today. So we're going to talk about the Red Letter JP Weiser Red Letter Edition. This is from their distillery. So if you have any Canadian whiskey, if you have Red Letter, even better. Why don't you pour a little dram? And when you come back, we'll nose, we'll taste, we'll sip this JP Weiser Red Letter Canadian, and then I'll compare it against the Crown Royal Winter Wheat. So could be an interesting show, certainly a treat for myself on this Canada Day. But why don't you pour a little Canadian and come back and we'll nose and taste together. Red Letter from JP Weiser.
3, 4.
Well, thanks for coming back. As I said in the opener, it's Canada Day, so happy Canada Day. And I want to talk a little bit about this Red Letter edition from JP Weiser. It's a tribute to their founder, John Philip Weiser. I think it was 1857 when the distillery opened, and he was quite well known for his Red Letter rye at this point. So this has been released a few times over the years from JP Weiser's. This is their latest, available only at the distillery or only in Ontario. And it is a 15-year-old whiskey. Doesn't tell us, what's in here. Knowing it's from JP, lots of corn going on in here. Some interesting rye, I'm sure. And it's released, though, at 45%, which is pretty nice, because usually Canadian whiskey can come out less than that. Does have an age stamp, did I say? 15 years. And it mentions on here that it's finished in new oak. So that's what they're highlighting with this distillery edition. Beautiful bottle presentation. And I have to say, thanks, Dave. You're a great brother for buying that. Let's see what the whiskey's like. Nose and taste. There's a little bit of classic JP Weiser in there. There's some vanilla, some toffee, a bit of oak. There's a little more sweet oak than some of their releases. So it's got some vanillas and toffees. I get that almost right away. Almost not quite buttery, but some caramel, some brown sugars. But then there is a little more oak already on the nose. Some fruits here, some lighter fruits, maybe some stone fruits. And that was a pretty big inhale. A little more spicing, but on the back end. A little bit of cinnamon, it's just light cinnamon. That's all I'm getting right now. Not a complex spice palette, at least in terms of just right now on the nose. But a nice, approachable Canadian with a little more oak than a lot of other expressions. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. That has a nice flavor across the palate. I'm getting much more oak presence, but it's a sweet, young... I've said it before, it doesn't sound classy, but like a popsicle stick oak, nice bit of wood. Back into those caramel, sweet vanillas, toffees. Spicing now comes through more on the palate. We can go off cinnamon and say, okay, we've got a little more almost ginger... I'm not sure if it's nutmeg. I'm not getting nutmeg right now, but just maybe more like cinnamon and ginger interplay. Better try another sip. Cheers. Yeah, and now a little bit more cracked pepper. A little bit of a darker fruit kind of came up there. Some more... Now I'm getting, not char exactly, but now it's a little more balanced oak, a little bit more, less lively and more, maybe that's early finish now that's playing in here. Sweetness up front on the nose, as I said, was like a stone fruit. But now it's back down into just a little light berry, cherry, raspberry. That's not quite that sweet. This is a good whiskey, really good. I'm very thankful that I got it as a gift from my brother in Ontario. And this is great to have on the shelf. Just a quality release. Feels good in the palate. Nice flavor profile. I would say if you haven't had it, but you've had a variety of different nice Canadian releases, what this brings to is exactly what they highlight on the label, is that there's a little more, I would say, bourbon-esque oak presence to balance some of that classic maple syrup Canadian sweetness that some of our whiskeys are known for, which is good. Now this one also has a nice balance of rye, slight herbal, but not a lot. So I don't know what the rye in here is, or if that's from casking, because I've had cask that can bring out spice that I'm convinced is rye and is not, but it does have some of that going on. So you will get a little bit of spicy nature, a little bit of that spicy rye, I think, to keep the conversation going. If I was to rate this distillery edition, it's over 4. It's 4.25. This is a really good Canadian whiskey, and if you're in Ontario and you haven't tried it, I really do recommend it. It's a great whiskey. So I thought I'd better compare it today against this Crown Royal Winter Wheat. This is from their Noble Collection. I reviewed it back in March. It did receive the 2022 Canadian Whiskey Award winner, so it comes with a lot of credibility, and I have liked it before. Haven't had it in quite a while, so I just thought, why don't I just pour it against here? You know, I don't know enough about winter wheat in terms of what's in it. I have read some sites that say it's about 51% wheat and then mostly corn. But what I don't know, aside from that it highlights wheat and that it's released at 45%, is that, you know, I don't know the ratio of whiskey they've blended into this, or whether it's colored or chill filtered. It is a darker color than the red letter, but I feel like it probably is colored. Let's try winter wheat, nose and palate. Wow, in this sitting, you know, when you compare a whiskey directly like that, what you get is like, what's the main differences? And what I've got going on here is more fruiting, more, yeah, there's like more sweetness, almost more vanillas, but then lots more, fruit. What is that fruit? Floral fruit. What would be a floral fruit? Now maybe apricot or whatnot. It's interesting. I hear a little splash of rain. I heard my neighbor's air conditioner coming on. Hopefully I can finish this and you can still hear me appropriately. Yeah, in contrast, a far more floral fruit nature and less spice on the nose. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. That's really good too. I'm getting a more creamy, almost a cream of wheat. I didn't even make the connection. Like a creamy breakfast cereal, little more body in the palate, more clove. This time I am getting more nutmeg. Better try another sip. Cheers. Dark prune almost, like that's too much fruit, but something like that, like a dried out pithy fruit. More char oak. There is good oak on this, more than most regular Canadians. Wow. These are great whiskeys. I'm still preferring the winter wheat a little bit, which is surprising, because in terms of, I was going to say whiskey houses, I think they're called distilleries. Anyways, when I look at the portfolio of these two distilleries, I drink far more from J.P. Weiser's. I love their Northern Border collection. I'm a bit of a fan of Whiskey Doc, but and I don't drink a lot of Crown. But this winter wheat continues to be very interesting to me. Floral can put me off sometimes, and the more standard kind of spicy rye, caramel, new oak profile is usually what I go to. So you would think that I would put red letter over this, but there's some presence, cream, depth, interplay between either an old oak or as I said, an old fruit like prune. I don't want to say it's not that fruity, but there's something like that going on that continues to make me really enjoy the depth of this winter wheat. So I'm going to keep this at that 4.5 that I think I gave it back in March. And this is 4.25. Both of these are just fantastic whiskeys. And I knew when I brought them home that they would be in contention for my Canadian Whiskey of the Year. So we'll see if something else comes out to knock them off that pedestal. But this is great whiskey. Thank you for joining me out here on the deck. It was looking like a good day. Now we might get a quick rain shower, but there's still blue skies on the edges. I do hope that you and your family are able to have a celebration of Canada this day. I know it has become a bit political, and I never want to be political on my channel. I don't think that's at all what we're here for. We're here to talk whiskey. But I'd like to encourage anyone that stayed on this long to say we should be able to disagree. We should be able to disagree with our current leadership, our past leadership, and have meaningful dialogue, passionate dialogue, and still be able to come together and say, right now, this country has a lot of awesome things to offer. The people that live here and the world. I am proud to be in this country, and I'm thankful to be in this country. I do not have any pride for the horrific, historic, and current way that we treat First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples in this country. We need to do better, and we will do better. But I am still proud that we look to support each other. I saw a comedian today talk about what he's proud in Canada, and it was like, yeah, we have guaranteed maternity rights. We have guaranteed health care for all. We have all kinds of things that I really hope we can continue so we can support everyone here, and our peacekeeping and our world approaches to try to bring peace and better security, food stability, all of that to the world, I think is something that I am still proud of. So I know we're going through a lot of hard times, and I know I will disagree and others will disagree with me, even passionately, but I really hope we're able to pour a dram of some exceptional whiskey and talk it through and come out in a better place. Thanks for listening to that rant, and I apologize if I have offended you, but I hope you're still willing to come back and keep in the conversation. You guys have a great Canada Day.